Have you ever noticed how some couples can sit in complete silence and still seem to be having a conversation? No words, no explanations, no long discussions. Yet somehow they understand each other perfectly. And what's strange is that most people never notice it, because the strongest messages in a relationship are often the ones that are never spoken. A look across the room, a small shift in posture, the way someone reaches for your hand without even thinking. Tiny moments, almost invisible, but they reveal far more than words ever could. And once you see them, you'll never look at relationships the same way again. Imagine a couple sitting at a crowded restaurant. People are talking, music is playing, the room is full of noise, but between them, something else is happening. One partner glances toward the door, the other immediately notices. No words, just awareness. A few minutes later, one of them begins feeling uncomfortable. Before they say anything, the other subtly changes the conversation, creating space for them to relax. Again, no words. To everyone else, it looks ordinary, but beneath the surface, an entire conversation is taking place. Most relationships aren't built on dramatic declarations. They're built on thousands of silent exchanges that happen every single day. And here's what makes this fascinating. The longer two people share experiences, the more their brains begin recognizing each other's patterns. Not because they're reading minds, but because they're paying attention. Over time, they learn what a tired smile looks like, what stress sounds like in someone's breathing, what disappointment looks like before it's spoken aloud. They become experts in each other's unspoken language. Pause for a moment. Think about the people closest to you. Have you ever known something was wrong before they admitted it? Have you ever felt someone's mood change the second they entered a room? You probably have, and that's because humans are constantly communicating without words, especially when emotions are involved. But here's where it gets deeper. The strongest form of silent communication isn't eye contact, it isn't body language, it isn't even physical touch. It's attention, real attention. Because when someone genuinely notices the little things about you, they begin hearing the messages you never intended to send. The exhausted pause before you answer, the fake laugh when you're trying to hide something, the way your energy changes after a difficult day. Attention turns invisible signals into understanding, and understanding creates emotional safety. That's why some people feel deeply connected even when they're quiet together. They don't need constant conversation. They already feel seen. Now, think about the opposite. Have you ever talked for hours with someone, yet felt completely unheard? Every word was spoken, every sentence was clear, but somehow the connection wasn't there. Because communication isn't measured by how much people say. It's measured by how much they understand. And understanding often happens in silence. One couple might exchange hundreds of messages a day and still feel distant. Another couple might share a brief glance across a room and instantly know what the other is feeling. The difference isn't words, it's awareness. Here's something many people don't realize. The silent language between couples isn't always positive. Sometimes it reveals problems long before arguments begin. A hand that is no longer reached for, eye contact that slowly disappears, a smile that feels forced, a growing emotional distance that neither person talks about. The body often tells the truth before the mouth does, and sometimes relationships begin changing quietly, long before anyone admits it. That's why paying attention matters, not just to what your partner says, but to what they're showing. The things hidden between the sentences, the emotions beneath the words, The signals that are easy to miss when life becomes busy. Now pause and reflect. When was the last time you truly observed someone you love? Not listened, observed. What might you notice if you paid a little more attention today? Maybe the answer would surprise you. Because the biggest realization is this: most people think love is about finding the right words. But often, love lives in the spaces between them. In the look that says, "I'm here." In the touch that says, "I understand." In the silence that says, "You don't have to explain." The couples who seem deeply connected aren't always communicating more. They're communicating differently. They're listening to things most people overlook. And maybe that's the secret. The strongest conversations in a relationship are often the ones nobody else can hear, the ones spoken without a single word. And once you learn to notice them, you'll realize that silence was never empty at all. It was full of meaning.